lot of people misunderstand concepts around hardware wallets. Like they think if you have a hardware wallet, if someone gets your seed words, they can't access your money, right? Because they'd need your hardware wallet. Not true. That is false. If someone has your seed words, doesn't matter. They don't need your hardware wallet. They don't even need their own hardware wallet. Whenever you're online as well, I recommend using a VPN. I use Nord. It protects your IP, so you're not a part of big honeypots that collect user data and they can tell which websites you visited, and so you're less likely to be a target, and that's the best way to stay safe in crypto. So VPN mixed with hardware wallet, you are dressed for success in this industry. I wouldn't recommend you make videos talking about how much money you have or anything like that, or posting online your addresses or anything like that. That just makes you a target. I recommend getting washers. I know this looks crazy. Washers with a bolt. This is a 2-inch bolt, but you can get 4-inch ones for 24 word seeds, even more secure. And it's very discreet. These are just everyday items. People buy washers and bolts and stuff, and they're not related to crypto. And you also get a stamping set. This is a little set. I have all the links in the description that allow you to get this stuff. You do a few hammer hits into these washers. You only need the first 4 letters of each seed word, and that will allow you to recover your stuff. Now, a lot of people are wondering like, oh, isn't MetaMask safe enough? You know, I've been fine for this long. What's the problem here? There are things called 0-day attacks. So MetaMask has been fine for now, but we know how it stores your private key. It's stored in an encrypted file on the machine that you installed it on. That's why whenever you sync up your MetaMask to, like, say you're using MetaMask in your Google account, your main Google account, I wouldn't recommend doing that. You shouldn't mix crypto with your main stuff. And some people import their keys there. Never ever import your keys using anything ever resembling a keyboard. Never, if you're ever typing your seed words into anything using a keyboard, you are destroying security. It's not necessary if you have a hardware wallet. Never import and never take a photo of your seed words. Don't store it digitally anywhere. If you're very interested in understanding the potential scale of this overarching threat vector for MetaMask and any DeFi wallet that uses just a browser extension, your cryptographic private key is stored locally on that computer. That means if you get a virus on that computer, they can get to that key store. It's the same exact location on everybody's machine. It saves it in the same spot. You are not safe just using MetaMask. It's a good, it's functional, it's easy to use, but guess what? When you use a hardware wallet, you can still use MetaMask. You use it as a front end, and you can just connect to your hardware wallet, and you are never exposing your seed words. Now, this reveal, see how bad this is? This is so bad. Even MetaMask, like if you don't have a hardware wallet, part of the setup, it asks you to reveal this. If you are compromised before this, if you have any sort of screen capture virus that you're unaware of that never shows itself, you could have gotten it 2 years ago and you've had it ever since, but it's possible to have these things on your computer. As soon as you hit that button, boom, they have you. They have the same exact access that you have to those keys. Doesn't matter if you attach a hardware wallet now at all. Now you can make all these accounts are different addresses that are derived from that initial private key and public key pair. It's just a hash of that, and it's also controlled by the same seed word. Some people think if you just hit create account and you name it second account, some people think if I send money from this account 1, say you have $1,000 worth in here, and you transfer between accounts, you send it to this address, you're like, aha, that address is safe, right? Because it's a different address. No, it's not safe. It's not different. Same seed words. The person making the account, like if they have the same seed words as you, they know what it is. They can just add account whenever they restore it, and it reveals all the addresses ever tied to this. They can keep going down the list. If you have 10 accounts, they just go add account, add account, out account, out account, out account, and it will reveal all balances and all those, and they can move it because they have the seed words. Now, majority of people in crypto do not get hacked. Usually how people get hacked is through giving out their seed words to somebody or connecting to a DApp that was malicious, and they allow it to spend all of their coins. That's usually how most people lose their money in crypto. But this is the best way to secure yourself from any 0-day attacks in the future where a lot of data has been collected and then one big attack is finally activated. So if you don't want to be a part of that big mess that eventually comes out, where a lot of people using MetaMask who got keylogged, so a lot of people using just MetaMask, they may have exposed stuff, and if there's ever something in the future that's easily sent to people either through email or an image. There's tons of new ways of getting into people's computers nowadays. If there's any of those exploits that allow control over the computer, if they have control of your computer and they can go into the files and check stuff and decrypt stuff with the password that they keylogged, they're able to get all of your crypto in MetaMask. They can't do that if you have a hardware wallet. That's the bottom line. So at a certain point, you're going to want separate hardware wallets to separate money as well, with different seed words for each one. Even though you can technically create as many hidden accounts in one seed words as you want, it's even more secure to have separate hardware wallets with separate seed words. But it's not necessary until you get to whatever dollar amount you think is too much to have in one set of seed words. But that's totally up to you. It could be millions of dollars, it could be hundreds of thousands, it could be tens of millions before you decide to split it up and do a whole new set of seed words, because then you have more stuff to keep track of and you don't want to end up losing money because you forgot where it is. If you make too many backups, it's like, what am I juggling here? So it's really nice that you can actually do a lot with just one hardware wallet and then keeping one as a backup. You know, once you have hundreds of millions or tens of millions, then you can think about, maybe I should separate half of these into a separate set of seed words, be extra secure.